Hey everyone, Jexie here. Welcome back for another video. I had been doing a lot of thinking this week as the new year started as to what I would talk about for this video. And based on a lot of conversations I had seen online, Facebook, Twitter, I decided that I wanted to talk about my experiences with being miserable and being happy in recovery. So when I first got clean, I was miserable. I was miserable in active addiction. I absolutely hated the life I was leading. I wanted to be happy, but there's really, if for anybody who's using, you know how almost impossible it is to be happy when every moment of your life is consumed with trying to find the next drug. Whether your drug of choice is alcohol, opiates, crack, it doesn't really matter. The feeling is the same. So like if your obsession and compulsion all day is to stay high, it's so hard to be happy. And I had really believed for a very long time that even if I got off of drugs that I would always just be miserable. I actually believed that like I had messed up that part of my brain, that drug use had affected me so deeply that I would never be really happy again. I thought maybe I would be able to kind of like fit in and play like I was content at least, but I didn't really think I'd feel joy again. The first time I ever got to experience joy again in recovery was about 30 days clean. It's funny that I remember it because it was shortly after I'd gotten out of rehab. So could have been 30 days, could have been 60 days, around that time. And I remember one day just sitting with my kids. We were watching something on TV and I was looking at their faces and I got hit with like this immense sense of love. And it was the first time that I had realized that I had been missing that feeling. As awful as it sounds as a mother to say this, I didn't love my kids the way I thought I did when I was using. Of course I would have given my life for them, but that feeling, that like awe-inspiring feeling, like these two little people are mine. They came from me, they're a part of me, and I love them with all of my heart, and the joy it feels to know that you have these kids. I didn't realize I was missing that. And when those feelings started to come back, I remember I was like just overwhelmed with love and wanting them to call them over and wanting them to hug me and just being so grateful that I had them. That was the first time that I really had some sort of glimmer of hope that like maybe my brain wasn't so messed up. About 6 months clean, I had the opportunity to go to a convention. It was in Ocean City, Maryland, and there was thousands of other people in recovery. And I can't even say that we did anything like crazy special. I mean, the convention, sure, there was meetings and dances and going out to eat with people, but it wasn't like there was like any one thing that was so incredible that made it like so much fun, right? It was about just being with other people in recovery who completely identified with how I was feeling. And there was people who had like a minute clean and people who had like 40 years clean. Like the range of people there, people came from all over the country, different parts of the world. And it was like everybody was family. It was a really incredible feeling. There's something about getting together with other people in recovery that you kind of just get each other. Like it doesn't matter what drug you used or where you're from. It's like we just connect in a way that regular people who aren't addicts just probably could never understand. And I laughed that entire weekend, like wholeheartedly laughed so hard for so long that when I came back from that weekend's convention, I had no voice for almost 4 days. And it was just from laughing, not from screaming or yelling, from laughing. Remember, like that was the first time that like I had like certainty that like I could be happy again too. That feeling of laughing like finding something funny and really laughing, because I had done a lot of fake laughing, a lot of pretending. I'm a mom, so we go to play groups and watching the kids, and I'd have to do a lot of pretending. It's not that I didn't feel those things at all, but I didn't feel them as deeply as I thought that I should. And then after that weekend of just laughing and finding real joy, I realized that like everything started to feel better. I started to have hope in my future again. If you haven't laughed in recovery yet, just hang on. It'll happen. Watch comedy on TV. Like, I don't care what you do to make it happen. Laughing, really laughing in recovery. For me, that's when the real hope started. And if I didn't have that weekend of laughter, I'm not sure how I would have stuck in recovery. I've heard a lot of people in recovery say, I didn't get clean to stay miserable. But if I'm going to be honest, when I got clean, I didn't think I had a choice. Like, I thought I was just going to be miserable, and that was it. I didn't know that I could be happy in recovery. When I heard other people say they were happy, I just didn't think that was possible for me. I didn't think I was necessarily different. I thought I had just used drugs to a point that I had damaged my brain. I had been resigned to the fact that, like, I knew I needed to get clean, but I didn't think that was going to make me be happy. When I was able to actually feel real joy and happiness, that was when the idea of recovery really became to mean something more to me. It meant something that I could really look forward to. The harder I worked in recovery and the more I did for my recovery, the more it meant that maybe I can do something better in life. I could feel better. Nobody wants to be unhappy. And for a lot of people, and I'll go more into like my actual like story of like my addiction story type thing, and when I got real bad into using, in later videos. But a lot of us use to cover up feelings. Like, we use because we don't want to feel bad. Not everybody. I mean, sometimes I used for fun, but that's the other thing. I used for fun, or I used because I didn't want to feel bad. So in recovery, if I'm not having fun and I'm consistently miserable, it's almost like, well, then why would I stay clean? So a huge part of me staying clean is enjoying life and having fun. Recovery has given me the opportunity to see that it's possible to have fun without drugs, to enjoy life without drugs. I don't know that I thought that was possible before. I mean, I started using fairly young, and even before using was a problem to me, using was how I had fun. Whether it was drinking on the weekends, smoking pot with my friends, the list goes on. I pretty much tried everything there's to try, and I can tell you some sort of really fun story with friends. Using didn't become miserable to me to the end. When I started using to cover up feelings, that was kind of when using became miserable. But I've learned to have fun in recovery. Hanging out with other recovering addicts can be a really good time. As I mentioned in my quick New Year's Eve video, I had the opportunity to go to another convention, and I go to a few throughout the year, because I can have a lot of fun dancing, clean, no alcohol, nothing in my system, dancing with a bunch of people who don't care what you look like, who don't care what they look like, and everybody's just dancing to have fun, because it is fun. It's funny because a lot of times people say that they drink before they dance because then they have less inhibitions, they don't care so much, and they can just have fun. Going to a dance with other people in recovery when everybody at the dance is in recovery is like the same thing. Who needs to drink? Because everybody's having that same fun. Nobody cares what you look like. Nobody cares what they look like, and we're all just dancing and having a good time. That's what I found for being in recovery. Most of the events and stuff that I do are like that. When I do things with other people in recovery, nobody judges, and we all just have fun. Even the people, like when I'm talking to other people online, people I know or don't know who are in recovery, there's like no judgment there. That's the best part about being in recovery, is there's no judgment. So it lets you open up a little bit, loosen up a little bit, get to know people better. That's how we really start to enjoy ourselves in recovery again. When we are not afraid to like open up to other people and laugh, like, we can enjoy ourselves in recovery. So once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in for another video. I'm blown away by the positive support. If you have a suggestion or you have something you want me to talk about in a future video, just like write it in the comments. I'll talk about it. I love talking about whatever you guys want me to. So thank you all, and I hope you have a really, really wonderful weekend. Bye, everyone.